Hi, I'm Captain Phil Palmer. I work with North Queensland Bulk Ports as a marine pilot. This time-lapse video shows the view from the bridge of the 183 metre long vessel as it comes into port over nearly 1 hour. The tugs have attended the ship well out, and we have about a 3-mile run into the entrance once we get on board. The tugs will be tied up well before we get to Slade Rock, which you can see on the starboard bow. And just before we get to Slade Rock, there's a point that we call the point of no return, and that's our last bailout point. So if there's something not going right, tugs haven't got there, or there's a problem with the ship, at a mile off the breakwater we can turn around and go back out, which will cause about a 12-hour delay for the ship coming in. So the tugs have made fast. Usually they'll be the main force that we use for slowing the ship down. You can see in the background there's a pilot boat. That'll keep the port safe from the small boats. So as we approach the entrance, we're doing between 5 and 6 knots. So the forward tug starts laying back onto its line, and he's got about 50 tonnes that he can put onto the line. Help slow us up. I've got the other tug. He'll be starting to swing the ship once the speed's got down to underneath 1 knot. And then we'll just use the tugs to start swinging the ship 180 degrees. The aft tug pushing and the forward tug will be pulling. Swinging between the berths, it's a procedure that's fairly normal, but it is fairly tight, and the reason that we need to get the ship speed down to 1 knot is that if you've got too much excess speed and you start to turn, we can get quite close to the wharfs, and that's a fairly dangerous situation. So managing those risks is one of the key parts of the ship handling skills that we use. As we come alongside the wharf, we use tug power to push sidewards, which uses quite a lot of power when the ship's fully loaded. Once it is going, it's got a fair bit of momentum, so the next job is going to be to stop that momentum before we get to the wharf. Now you'll see the tugs move out to the side, and they'll take the speed off the ship before we touch down. We then have a good look at our position along the wharf. This is the ship's a tanker, so it's got a manifold where the cargo comes out of, and that'll be received in pipelines on the shore. So we've got to line those two up to within about a half a metre, and then we use these mooring lines to lock the position and use the tugs to hold the ship up to the wharf while we get the rest of the ship's lines out into position, and we'll get the ship secured. We arrive at berth 5, Mackay Harbour, where port workers then tied up the vessel. North Queensland Bulk Ports is proudly committed to safe shipping.